Between Two Amps is proudly sponsored by Liquid Death. Right now I am enjoying a mango chainsaw.
I got some severed lime. If you don't know, they have some new flavors that have come out recently,
and they're amazing.
They're really good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of agave infused in there.
Yeah.
And so it really makes those flavors pop. I'm actually really stoked on it.
Yeah, it's really good. Murder Your Thirst, by the way. That's what I do daily.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could possibly get through a podcast without murdering my thirst.
I agree.
I mean, really, I don't think I could riff.
Yeah.
Without murdering my thirst.
I mean,
is there anything that you can think of that you could possibly do without murdering your thirst?
No.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I can murder my thirst. Perfect. But I definitely murder a lot of songs.
It was a perfect thirst murder.
Perfect thirst murder. Thank you. Thanks, Liquid Death. Appreciate it.
Thank you to Liquid Death.
And watch our podcast.
Yeah.
I said watch our podcast.
Yeah. Listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks, and murder your thirst.
Yep.
He was looking for a life that would give him the feeling of being worthwhile.
Welcome to another episode of Between Two Amps. We've got a rad guest today. You might know him from such bands as Hope Conspiracy, Suicide File, Clouds, A-Team, Pure Love, his current projects, Spiral Heads, and also playing with the legendary Burn and American Nightmare. Give a warm Between Two Amps welcome to Jim Carroll. Jim, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, like we were talking before, can we start this off, just kind of talking about how you got into punk and picking up an instrument, is it chicken and the egg? Did it all happen at the same time, or?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't mutually exclusive, but I feel like as far as getting into punk, like I think the big gateway, like obviously, like grew up on metal, like all the kids I hung out with in my neighborhood, like they were all into metal, and their older brothers were into metal, so like a lot of Metallica, a lot of Iron Maiden, a lot of Anthrax, like the classic sort of Slayer, like the big four bands.
Yeah.
And I think like Metallica was like a big gateway band for me, where it's like you see them wearing Misfit shirts and Black Flag shirts, and it's like, oh, what, sort of like a lot of people do at the time in like late 80s, early 90s, where it's like you're looking through magazines and reading thanks lists on tapes and CDs, and it's like, all right, I want to know about this band, and like definitely went from like those bands to like I said, like Black Flag and Misfits, and then sort of just went from there. The Ramones obviously was like a huge thing for me, just because like they would kind of get played on the radio, like the rock radio, and alternative stations, and so like delving.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts. Okay.
It's beautiful. The Paris of the 80s, Worcester.
The Paris of the 80s.
Yeah. That's a real thing. I'm not.
Is it really?
What?
Yeah, there was an artist from, I believe he was from Worcester, or at least like lived in Worcester in the 80s, and there's like always been like this art scene there. There's like a art school and some museums, and if you obviously it's a beautiful place. You guys have been there, but there was this shirt that he made that was like circulating around, and I remember having one as a kid, and it said Worcester, the Paris of the 80s. And yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
It's,
That's awesome.
you know, it was
Paris
it
is
was
no
just
longer a place; it's a time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Worcester,
Yeah,
Mass,
look it
the
up.
home of the New England Metal Fest.
Yeah, that became a thing. So, you know, I came from a metal hotbed in it's but it was like the thing about Worcester and like starting to go to shows and all that, like there was always shows there, like there was always music, like it, you know, it was definitely like a B market as far as like the like bigger touring bands. But like there were, you know, once I got into like punk and hardcore later on, like there was always show, like every weekend I would almost never feel the need to like go like travel into Boston or like go to Western Mass, because it's like there was always something. There was always like some sort of shitty show going on or a good show. But
it's funny, like I think Worcester is still kind of the A market for Boston is in terms of metal, at least.
Yeah,
like with the Palladium and everything. So
yeah, definitely.
So what when you were starting to go to shows, was the space around then?
The space was around, yes.
So what
it was like? It was I think it was because originally there was like the WAG, which was the Worcester Artist Group, and then there was another spot called the Space, and that was like just down from like the second generation of the Space, which was sort of like the most. I think there was like 3 incarnations of it, but the one that I went to the most was like the second generation. But the first one I think burned down in like this big fire. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. The building that it was in burnt down, but it had already moved around the corner to like the second generation Space. You know, little Worcester history for you.
Yes. I never played the Space. Did you play the Space, Fred?
Yeah.
I never played that.
It was like 98, I think.
So which band was it?
That was Darkest Hour.
Oh, it was Darkest Hour. Okay.
And
I was probably there then.
I can't remember who we played with, but it must have been 98. When did the Space end? So like, I think it was soon after that.
Yeah, it wasn't there when I moved there, and I moved there in '99 and to Boston, and there were no shows at the Space in Worcester.
Yeah, I think it had just around 99, like maybe like right before I graduated. No, I feel like I graduated high school and it was still there, and that was 2000. I don't know. It gets vague.
So I know we kind of jumped around there, but like so you start doing the pre-internet Googling of liner notes and band photos. Like so in Worcester, you know, obviously metal is alive and well there. So what was the transition to punk like? Was that something like, were you kind of trailblazing on your own, or was there like kind of a crew of kids starting to gravitate towards punk?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot happened all at once where like I was more like learning about like the classic bands and listening to them. Like I said, like Misfits and Black Flag, like it already, like I remember getting like that first 4 years Black Flag cassette. And then I think like the first Misfits collection had come out, like, and I remember getting that, and and that, I don't know. I'm trying to piece it together, but like I didn't start going to shows as far as like smaller, like as far as like smaller punk shows till later on. Like I started going to like bigger metal shows and like concerts when I was in like 7th grade. My first concert I went to was in 7th grade, and it was because there was a kid that went to my school whose mom was like, she worked as like a gopher for like the production company, like the big production company in Massachusetts. So he was like, he was like, hey, do you want to go to this show? It's Danzig. And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
and I had to like beg my mom was just like, she's, skittish about everything anyway. So like, she was like, I don't know, and my brother was just like picking on me, like, no, it's like Satan worshiping stuff. Like you shouldn't let him go. And he was just like trying to just like piss me off. But finally she ended up letting me go. Like I went with this kid, my friend Dana, my friend Dana, and then his older cousin drove us out to Fitchburg. And it was Danzig, Typo Negative, and Godflesh. And that was my
holy
first,
shit!
Damn.
That's a good fucking show.
What album Danzig was that like when the
it was
Danzig live?
Danzig 4. So it wasn't Chuck Biscuits. I think it was Joey Castillo playing drums for him on that tour. But like, yeah, it was like, I remember because I knew a little bit about that and like loved Danzig, like, and I remember walking in and it was, you walk into like this like black room where like Godflesh was playing, so it's like a crazy soundtrack to walk into like this dark like ice hockey arena. And I just remember seeing Eerie Vaughn like off to the side, like talking to some like metal chick, like leather clad metal chick, and he's just like looks like 7 feet tall, and I'm just like, whoa, that's fucking cool. And then this like, and it's me and my friend Dana like walking side by side, and then this like guy that I would later see at shows a lot, he was just like a burn victim, like metal dude that would go to a bunch of shows, but he just like went past us and like gave us like the horns and screamed. He was just like, yeah, like seeing like 2 little kids walking into the show. And I was just like, well, this is the fucking coolest thing ever. And I was just like, from that, I was like, cool, I'm good. Like I'm hooked on this. Cause it was like kind of scary and like, but also super exciting. And, but yeah, it was fun. And then, yeah, I got to meet Danzig like after the show, and he was like maybe like 3 inches shorter than me. And I was in 7th grade.
Yep.
And he had really long fingernails, and it creeped me out.
Oh man, it's so like the first time I'd seen him a bunch, but I was friends with Tommy Victor, who plays guitar for them now.
Nice.
And
yes.
I went to they were playing at like the Fox Theater in Pomona, like I don't know, it was a while ago. But it was a girl that I'd started dating at the time. I was like, "Hey, you want to come along?" And she's like, "Yeah." She wasn't really into metal or anything. And like after the show, like we went backstage, and we're just kind of waiting off the side of the stage for Tommy to come back out. And she's like, "So is there like a lot of groupies and stuff here?" And I was just like, "Nah, I don't think that's really a thing." And like as soon as I said that, like 2 like very well endowed women come walking by, just like wearing negligee, like going backstage to Glenn's room, and then like we finally get into the backstage area, and it's just like nothing. It's like what I would imagine kind of like the Band-Aids were from.
Right.
Because I think some of them might have been there.
Right. Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay, well, maybe there are. I don't know.
I mean, I think it still exists, but it's not what it's not what all the not what it was. Let's just say that. I don't even know what I was talking about.
That's an amazing first show.
Yeah, it was good.
And then from that where you like started going to more shows, when was it like you're like, okay, I want a guitar, or I want to start playing music, or were you already playing music?
I was already playing music.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and like I started playing, I think I got a guitar when I was like 10 or 11, something like that. And I had like a little Samick. It was a
nice
Samick, like Strat style. Got it for Christmas.
Oh, you had an electric guitar.
What's that?
You started on electric.
Dude, I didn't have an acoustic guitar until I was in like high school. And I got it for free. That's a whole
That's a whole
other
nother.
yeah. I got it for free. Yeah, whatever. We'll get to that. Just remember to ask me about my acoustic guitar. Yeah, it was a Samick, and then I had some like little. I want to say it was like a little like Yamaha amp. It was like the classic like holiday combo where like $100, and like my dad went to like the local music store and like bought that. And it was fun. I feel like I didn't really take to it right away because playing an instrument is hard, and like you're like, I just want to rock. And then like I was trying to play along to like I was doing guitar lessons, and I would bring stuff to my guitar teacher, and like he'd try to teach me the basics, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I'm like, this is fucking pussy shit. I'm not doing this. And then
that's exactly everyone's story. It's like,
but I think he kind of realized like I'm not into this, and he wanted to make his whatever $10 a week for I'm not talking shit about him, really nice creepy guy in a room. It was fun. But I think he was like, oh, next week why don't you just like bring in a tape of something, and like if you want to learn some things. And I would like bring in Metallica tapes, and what else? I'm trying to think of stuff that I don't know. I mean, I will say the two like cool riffs that guy taught me, just like, here, these are easy, like Wild Thing and Smoke on the Water, like a really shitty version of Smoke on the Water.
Nice.
And I
Did
feel
he
like
give you the explanation that what's his name, Blackmore gives on that VH1 thing? Well, it was a diminished fourth, but then it went down to, it's like everyone's like, shut the fuck up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then he also talks about how everyone plays it wrong because he's doing like a low E with it or something, whatever. Like, sorry, man, I was fucking 12. I didn't play it.
So did that kind of unlock the, like, was there like an aha moment, like with like a learning a power chord or like something where you're just like, oh wait?
Yeah, I definitely, like, power chords were the big thing. Like I said, that Wild Thing riff, like once I was like, oh, I can play a song that's not just like Twinkle Twinkle Little. Like once you feel that sort of the actual power behind the chord.
It's like power,
the power chord. I get it. All right. So I think it was just more, learning simple songs, like learning Ramones songs and like learning Sex Pistols songs, and then like realizing like this guy was like, what he was doing was just like basically like early days of ear training. And then at a certain point I was like, well, I think I can just do this on my own. So I just sit in my room and like, try to figure out songs. And, that's basically, I only took guitar lessons for probably like 3 or 4 months. And then I just like decided to just sit at home and like learn whatever parts of songs that I could. Like, because I could rarely play like full Metallica songs, but I'd at least like learn the parts that I could. And I don't know, just stuff like that. And then I think I upgraded. What did I upgrade to from a Samick? I think I got a. What did I get? Oh, I got a. I went to the music store and I wanted the same music store that I took lessons at. And I remember seeing this BC Rich Virgin, which I don't know if you know what the Virgin is.
Yeah, that was the name of the guitar.
Yes.
Oh, they had the best names. Virgin, bitch. Like,
I know that bitch. Yeah, I remember that one. I think the guitar plays that.
Come on, Bernie.
Yeah. No, that's the
Warlock.
I think he plays a Mockingbird.
Oh yeah. Oh, he plays a Mockingbird. Okay.
I think so.
Who played a Mockingbird? I missed that.
Vic DeCara, I think, was playing when I saw him with Burn. This is like 20 years ago now. He shows up in like camo shorts, no shirt, hair out to here, lime green, neon green, fucking BC Rich Warlock or Mockingbird, and just fucking ripping. I was like, this dude's insane.
That's great. Yeah, mine was definitely the least cool BC Rich that they made. It was like this like rounded bottom, and then like the crazy like, you know, squiggly devil cutaways, but it was black and it had a propane sticker on the back of it.
Fuck yeah.
Like the band.
The band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want this guitar. And like, yeah, I think I had to like, at that point, I mean, that was like my upgrade. I think my parents were like, okay, like you've been working hard at this. Like it was not expensive. It was like, this is a piece of trash metal guitar that no one wants.
Mm-hmm.
But got
Which would probably now go for like $1,000 on Reverb.
It 100%. I looked it up recently.
So was it NJ series Virgin?
I don't know. I could not tell you.
It's
I was
funny,
just about to say that I quickly got challenged by the Floyd Rose because I could barely change a string at that point, and I was just like, nope. This is like that was the point of my guitar playing where I had to go to the music store and have someone change the string for me.
Yeah.
I should have done that. I didn't, and you know, just like we've talked about this before, where it's just hilarious having no concept of string gauges.
Oh my god!
I didn't know that existed.
No.
Yeah, it's just like I just need a string that's not broken. So this one's broken. I'll put another string there. So it's like 2 low E's.
They had the first guitar I had too was a Kramer. Like Strat style Kramer, and had a Floyd Rose on it. I'm just like, how the hell? I don't even know how to change. I don't even know how to tune a guitar. Like, how the fuck am I gonna deal with this shit? You know?
Yeah, that was my guitar teacher, Mark Belanger. He had a Kramer. It was like a sparkly blue. And he also played in
Hot Pink.
a band. I'm trying to remember the band that he played in. It was like. Not Dr. Funkenstein. It was something like that, though. He was like just like the whitest guy ever, but he like played in some like weird like funk rock band in Worcester.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, we had there was I grew up. I was military, so we moved around a lot.
Right.
But like Richmond, Virginia was like high school and beyond. And I took guitar lessons there from at a local music store, and the teacher was in. So this would have been like early '90s, and it was kind of the down slope of downtrend of like kind of metal power. They were like maybe. Like on the overkill side of things but like definitely glam, like edgy glam, I guess. And
edgy glam would GNR be edgy glam?
Not they're more Aerosmith to me, like like, but
so
I
like
guess
on
so.
The thrash side
this is more on the thrash side of things. And they were called Klaus Zirkel, and they had this album called Feel the Green. And I remember so Twisters was the local club, so like they would do all ages shows, and then they would do there'd be 2 shows a night. So like early show would be like the hardcore punk show, and then later would be the adult show or whatever. And one night Klaus Zirkel was playing afterwards, and the singer there, my guitar teacher was like, oh dude, we got this new singer, we're gonna blow up, this is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And we were packing up out the back, and you know there's no one there, and like they're playing like the intro. Klaus Zirkel's up on stage playing the intro, no one's there, singer's nowhere to be found, and out from the back in the bathroom comes this dude walking out wearing assless chaps and nothing underneath. Just like walking down like triumphantly down the length of the club. And then there's like 3 people at the bar like, what the fuck is happening? Oh,
That's amazing.
but he
I
was
love
teaching me
that.
guitar, so
I don't have any good guitar teacher stories. My guitar teacher definitely just told my parents that he never practices, just you're wasting money. And that was after like 3 months of him teaching me like green sleeves. You know that?
Right.
You know in
Oh, yeah.
Animal House when fucking John Belushi smashes the guitar. That's what I felt like. I'm like, what?
You can find that guy and be like, well, look at me now.
Look at me, man. I'm barely making it.
Exactly. In your face.
So I forgot I was saying something about that. Just I think I was like Nate Newton or something like that. We posted something about guitar teachers, and everyone's got the same story. It's like we were kids. All we wanted to do was like fucking cause trouble, like skateboard or whatever. No one wanted to practice fucking Mary Had a Little Lamb or green sleeves, you know?
No, like there had to be some sort of relatable moment where it's like, okay, all right.
Or there's always the kid. We had the kid, or one of my good friends who started playing guitar with me was a band nerd. So he really knew his theory, but when we started playing guitar, it was like awesome. And I was like, cool, I got someone to show me how to play power chords, and we did. And then he just got out of like right when stuff started ramping up, when like bands like, oh, we can play in bands like for real. And he like decided that he wanted to be in a Led Zeppelin like bar band, and that's what he still does. Like not for his job, but he just became one of those dudes who just sat in his room and learned fucking tablature, all of it. And I was like, dude, that looks boring, man. It's like I'm touring the world. You're sitting here fucking playing down the street from where we grew up.
You're so angry about that.
I am. He was such a good guitar player too. I was like, man, you would have been great in a fucking hardcore band.
Oh,
anyways, if only.
It's
really you didn't try hard enough to get him in a band.
Yes, I mean, I definitely saved his life because he's definitely way more successful than I am.
Yeah, let's be real here.
Yeah,
how far would he really have gotten?
Exactly.
It's so fun. Like I feel like that's totally a common theme where it's just like I wonder if like it's by design that these guitar teachers, they're like trying to like steer kids away from music. Like, or if it's like the bar with lawyers where it's like, let's thin the herd here.
But Jim, weren't you giving guitar lessons for a while? What was your educational philosophy as far as music concerned?
Well, I will say, like, when I worked at Dave Weinberg, who was the singer of Suicide File, he was a principal at a high school in Queens here, and he asked me to like do this music guitar program, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And it's like, high school kids, like they're I don't know what they're into, and I was just like, the first day I'm like, all right, like, what are you guys into? Like, what do you want to learn? Like, I kind of immediately went there, like, to at least like, and they would like shout out like, I want to learn the song from Frozen, and I'm just like, I gotta listen to that one, but we'll figure it out.
Oh yeah.
And then they were into some like, rock. Like a lot of the stuff they were saying was like, well, there's no like guitar in this song, but okay, I'll try to figure something out. But then we ended up playing a lot of like they all sort of agreed, or most of them agreed, like, oh, they like this one Arctic Monkeys song. So I was like, okay, like cool, like that's a rock band. I can do that. And we played the riff so much, just like this one riff. I was like, okay, time to move on to the next riff, like the next part of the song.
Right.
And they'd be like, oh no, like I got this one down. And but it was fun. Like some of them didn't even really want to play guitar. Like they wanted to. They just like it was, which was fine. I was like, cool. You'll find your instrument. Like, you don't need to do this. Like, you can just we can talk about music, and it was more of just like getting them excited about something. So there were a few kids that were like really, they picked everything up like crazy fast, and I was very impressed. But
nice. So you never know, man. The next generation could be, oh, my music teacher was this guy, and blah blah blah. Didn't teach me green sleeves or
the next generation is like, why couldn't I just learn Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Why'd I have to learn Arctic Monkeys? Bullshit.
I mean, what's going on now? Yeah. So where were we at with your journey here?
So we'd gotten the Virgin and had some trials and tribulations that come along with the Floyd Rose bridge going anywhere from here to here to here. I'm assuming.
I still have that. I just got a flying V the other day, and I was like, "Fuck, man, this fucking Floyd Rose sucks."
Yeah.
Once you get it, it's great.
I know.
But until then, not so much.
I know, not so much. But at this point, I feel like the Virgin definitely gave me a lot of trials and tribulations, and I think it was like I realized that it was more frustration than it was worth. And I at that point had started like working a little. I worked at like a CVS down the street from my house, so like was like saving up money and whatever. And I loved a big band for me was AC/DC, and so I got an Epiphone SG because obviously I couldn't afford a Gibson. So I got a red Epiphone SG, and that was like my guitar for a while, like at home.
What amp did you have at this point? Were you still playing out of the practice amp, or did you like get upgrade?
Still playing out of the practice amp. I didn't upgrade until like my freshman year of high school. I got a crate.
Okay.
I got a crate head and like a
half stack. Yeah,
I was like, gotta go. I need a half stack. Obviously, like hadn't played a show yet. Like hadn't even really played in bands. Like would play. My friend Dana, who like took me to that first show and a bunch others after that first concert. He had like gear in his basement, so like he played drums. Okay. So I would always go over to his house and like we'd like try to play songs or like there was like one time we had to like write a song for a school project, and like it was like this vaguely like rap rock
nice, that's good
thing with like we had a kid that also had, we were just like, oh, you don't play anything but you can just sing. So we like wrote these lyrics about, like, I went to Catholic school and it was like something, I think it was like for a religion class. But I tried to make it really edgy because he had these light up devil horns, and I wore them in the video that we had to do. So
you still have the video somewhere?
No, I have no idea.
Oh man,
some VHS. Yeah,
I need to find that. That sounds amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was something. But yeah, his dad was a musician, so they just had like gear. and so I'm trying to think of like where I had an SG, and then I bought an ESP. It was like an ESP like Strat style guitar, and that was one that when I like started playing shows, I used that one like just in random like high school bands, like playing in backyards and stuff. And
did it have a Floyd Rose?
It didn't. There was no whammy capabilities.
Nice.
Do you remember which model? Like, was it like an M1 or M2 or was it like one of the vintage series thing? Yeah.
No idea.
Those are great.
It was cool. It was cool. Like, it was a cool guitar. It was like bright orange.
Oh wait, I remember that.
I think it was like, it was.
I remember that guitar.
That guitar.
Yeah.
But it was just like playing in random bands and, playing through my crate and my ESP, and then my big like step up at that point was there was a band from like the Worcester area called Hold Strong, which was like, they would like play on bigger shows and whatever.
Wait, Was Desmond in that band?
Yeah, Desmond was in Hold Strong.
No way! I didn't know that they were from Worcester.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, like Holden. I think they.
Oh, okay. I didn't
right
know
outside
that.
of
Yeah.
Worcester. But
they definitely toured in a box truck.
Oh yeah. But they played a show at the Espresso Bar in Worcester, and they were like, we're looking for a second guitar player. Like, if you know anyone, like, made the announcement on stage.
Yeah.
So after I was like, me and my friend were there, and I like went up to him. I was like, "Oh, I play guitar. Like, I like your band." And like, I was in fucking like my freshman year of high school, and they were like late 20s or like mid to late 20s. So, but they were like, "Oh, cool. Like, yeah, come and like, and that was like, I felt like that was like the step up for me. We were like, oh, playing a real band now, like with adults. But yeah, so I don't know how I got onto that, but that's like the progression in my mind of like, and then like, and then starting the A Team with my high school friends, like that was where I was like really like writing songs and starting to play shows. And
so that was A Team was a band that you started in high school.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, that's like, if you guys were a high school band, I'd be like, oh my god, these guys are Metallica. Because you guys are like a real band, So I was like, holy shit, because I remember my band in high school was awful. I mean,
well, they were like the Q and Brian, Q the drummer and Brian the bass player, like they had been playing in like ska bands, like they were big into ska, and like they had like an oi band, and they were like total like band guys, like they had a good like music program in their school.
Okay.
And so like they played all the time, and they're great musicians, but I was just like, I just happened to fall in with them. But yeah, that's like the beginning of the end,
The that's true. The orange ESP that you're talking about, Strat, I remember who played one of those. Kate 108.
Oh, okay.
Kate Reddy, when she was playing 108, she had an orange Fender Strat ESP, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen one of those. Yeah, that's what I was like. Why does the guitar sound familiar?
Yeah, you can see it on the like whatever the little center label of the first A Team 7-inch. There's a picture of me playing with actually this nuclear assault hat on.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And my orange ESP. You can see that in there. So,
whose amp were you playing? What kind of amp did you have that time?
That was still the Crate, because the next piece of gear that I got, I like worked all summer doing landscaping at like my dad's like the trucking company that my dad worked for. I like did landscaping all around the property for a summer, and like saved up money, and I was like, I'm gonna get a Les Paul. Like, this is what I'm gonna do it. And this is like, I still can't believe this deal that I got. It was insane. Where I went to this, there was like another music store that I went to where like became friendly with the guys that worked there or whatever. So I think they hooked it up a little bit, but bought that 2000, that Les Paul, which is like the black Les Paul that I've played
the custom
forever. Yeah, the custom.
You bought that then? You've been playing that thing for that.
Well, I bought it. So that was 2000. It was it was a 2000. It was like a brand new guitar.
Okay.
And I bought it in 2001, or like tail end of 2000, and I got that and a Marshall JCM 2000.
2000, right? 2000.
Yes, and for $2,000.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, like the dude sold me a head and that guitar for like $2,000, and I was like, this doesn't, like, okay, cool, great.
Was this from a shop, or
it was from a shop? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wild.
Dude, that is an investment, because that fucking guitar right now on Reverb is probably like $5,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's served me well for years.
Great guitar.
It's hurt my back a lot. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, the one time I played a custom on a tour, it really fucked my back up.
Yeah.
And this was when I was in my 20s. Like, if I did it now, I'd be done.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but that was like the last like big piece of gear that I bought for a long time, because I was like, then I just like didn't. That was like the last point where in my like late teens, early 20s, where I was just like, I don't have money anymore. Like, what am I? That's it. Like that. And good thing I bought. That was my last investment, and it took me on for many years. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what were you running the JCM 2000 through? Was that through the crate cab still, or
through a crate cab? And then I don't know when I can't remember when I got a Marshall cab. Like I ended up, yeah. So I guess
you had a checkerboard one, didn't you, or no?
No.
Okay.
I think I traded in the crate for a Marshall cab at some point, and like paid a little bit of a difference, but yeah, just like some 1960 slant cab, reissue cab, like brand new cab. But yeah, and then that I actually remember I got this Marshall cab, and then like 3 weeks later played a show at the Hanover House in Connecticut with like, I think the A-Team was playing with like Blood for Blood. And
holy shit, at the Hanover House?
Yeah. And I had, my car at the time was like this like late 80s Oldsmobile, and it was like a 2-door, but the doors were like so fucking long. And my friend was helping me load my cab into the back of my car, and you had to like put the seat up in order for it to like get into the back, and he just like shoved it in, and it ripped the whole
Toltecs
front, like, yeah, no, not the Toltecs, like the front, the grill, like whatever you call that, but it just like ripped it over like one of the speaker. It didn't hurt the speaker, but I was like, what the fuck, this is I just got this thing. So pissed. Then I went out, took out all my anger in the pit for Blood for Blood.
Yeah.
That's right. Hanover House, Blood for Blood. That's insane.
I just cowered in the corner. Yeah, I think it was, who else played that? I don't know, but it was fun.
So through like working up to the Marshall Les Paul, like, was that kind of like the dream setup at that point, or?
I think so. I mean, at that, yeah, it's so long ago now, but I feel like there was the one. It wasn't like the back of, or maybe it was. It was like I want to say it was like the back of this like bootleg New York Dolls CD that I had, where like they just them playing live, and it was like, Johnny Thunders always looked cool, but like Sylvan Sylvain had a black Les Paul, and I was just like, it was like the coolest picture. I was like, fuck, yeah. I need to get a guitar like that. And I think that was like where I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get a black Les Paul. And which is funny because that makes me think of, there's a Danzig video where he talks about how he only plays a black Les Paul.
Oh, John Christ?
No, Danzig.
Oh yeah,
Danzig
it's
is
so
just
funny.
sitting there like, he's like, oh, I only play a black Les Paul.
He still has that guitar, and it's funny. It's like it's a studio. It's like it's an older, it's dot neck black studio, and it's hilarious. I've seen that. He's comedy.
He was onto something. Yeah, it's true.
Glenn, man.
He was right about something.
Oh man, yeah. Like I remember like wanting a custom from the Cult, like Sonic Temple, cover.
Oh yeah, that cover.
Like, I was just like that and then like definitely like the it was Steve Clark from like Def Leppard and like his Les Pauls, but then specifically the Black Beauty from Sonic Temple, especially like the open coil, like removed the pickup covers. I was just like, open coil Black Beauty, that looks so sick.
Yep. And it does.
Still does. Couldn't afford one back then, so I like took.
I know.
I had like I ended up getting a black standard, but made it look like a custom. Like put black pickup rings on it and took off like the pick guard and put black knobs and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I was close.
Yeah, it sometimes it just takes a while, but you get there eventually.
Would you say that would you say that when you got the Black Beauty in the Marshall as like a combo that you like changed the way you write songs? Because I think you and I talked about this, where it's like sometimes you'll just pick up a new guitar that you haven't played before. It could be like a Fender, it could be like whatever. And you're like, oh, this thing just plays really good. And then you'll come up with parts that you might not have come up with just playing on your old guitar,
I mean, I think to a certain extent, I feel like it was more like, I kind of, that was at a point where I was like thinking like, oh, like this, this ESP, like, oh, it's kind of lame. Like, it's not what I want. Like, I want like a real, like, I want like a real, like, rock guitar. I felt like I had never had like a real guitar at that point.
Yeah.
And then I got a Les Paul and I was like, this is a real guitar. So if anything, like playing shows, I was like, oh, like feel like this is cool. Like getting
much more confident
and like, and maybe, I don't know, maybe that came across, or you also just get excited about a piece of gear and like you want to sit down and play it all the time. And so
totally.
Yeah, it definitely helped in that regard, where it just got me to play more and feel good while doing it. Yeah, for sure.
And
yeah.
I'm gonna try after that. Like, you see, what happened was, I think for a while, like I was like, kind of gear, like, oh, I need this head, I need that head. And then like, you'd see a band come through town and you'd be like, oh, that band sounds like this, I want that head. For like, we've discussed this a lot. For Chicago, it was the Fender M80 after Unbroken showed up. It was like they had these like little Fender M80s, so everyone like got Fender M80s, and then everyone saw Damnation. They had Marshall 800s with the rat pedals,
Right.
So we went that route. But I think like once I started like touring more so, like in HopeCon and Suicide File was like a lot of touring. At that point, I was just like, whatever I could get my hands on. If I was on tour, if I was playing a show. But usually my stock was like a 5150. But on the recordings or anything like that, it was always whatever like I was using. There was no like head that I'd be like, I need to use this. This is what I'm going to use.
No, at that point, I don't think that there was like, I knew like, oh, like Marshall's cool. Like at that point, I was like, oh, like there's like these Mesa Boogies are cool. Like, but there was never, it was, I was just going to say like I feel like there was never a band that was like that. Yeah, where like gear was such a thing where it's like, I need to get this specific thing. Because I feel like, I don't know, so many of those bands that I was seeing then were like, which was a connecting point where it's just like, you're doing the same thing where it's like, you're young, don't have any money, and you're just like doing, it's like what you could do with the gear. Like what?
Yeah.
If it was.
No, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, I don't think there's any, I'm trying to think of like a band that was like a gear band for me. And nothing really jumps out.
Yeah. Like, brain. I mean, when I first saw Earth Crisis, those dudes were playing crates and they sounded like fucking chaos. I was like, this band's insane. But, their gear was just like fucking garbage, like they were playing like these busted like Charvels, it's like, so it wasn't like at that point it wasn't a gear thing. But I remember like this is later on when people kind of had more money, you know, like, and some of the bands that we were friends with or that were in our kind of circle got a little bigger, and people would be like,
Right.
oh, what's that? Oh, all the guys from Caven are playing Sons. Everyone went out and got a Model T, and I was like, what is all this? What's going on here? What's everyone getting these old amps? You know, and then
when you could still get them for cheap.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Oh yeah, no, nothing anymore. What's your gear like? I mean, you've been playing in like different bands, not just like you know heavier hardcore bands. What's a guitar that you've now like kind of taken to that's not your typical, not the Les Paul that you've always played?
I have this guy that I always have. This is my little Hagstrom 3.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that
a little like Fender headstock? And what's that?
Is that a newer one, like kind of the Pat Spear era, or
no? It's like a 70s one.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess it has a Fender headstock. That was before Fender said no more copying the headstock that we copied from Bigsby.
Yeah, pre lawsuit. But that was a fun little purchase. And it played like it's such a fun guitar to play, like sounds cool and has so many like little tone switches on it, and like it's great. And I've
Swedish company, right?
Yeah, Swedish.
Yeah.
Were you able to figure out like what all the switches do?
Well, when I first got it, like I bought it from a kid in Brooklyn, like it was like a Craigslist buy. Met him on the street and like purchased it. So like didn't play. I was just like, he was selling it at a pretty good price, and I was just like, whatever, I'll figure it out. If like something's busted, like I had people that could fix it, whatever. I was like, no big deal. And like the wiring was definitely a little funky, so I like brought it to the guy that fixes my guitars, and I was like, just go through this, and he had to like resolder some shit. But it's basically just like this thing.
There's humbuckers, right? Or
no, I don't even.
Oh no,
kind of like they're kind of like P90-ish, but like I don't know exactly what they are. But it just has like low, middle, and high, and then there's like this little tone switch that kind of change, like it kind of darkens things up a little bit, and then like the top switch is just like it gives it a little bit more high end, and then this mute switch that just cuts it. But also like then there's also an on and off switch right here. But
interesting.
So, yeah, it's kind of strange, but they're cool.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so rad. So did you notice a shift in what you were creating as soon as it was like, or was the goal to get this guitar and then try something new, or was it just like, what was the impetus behind?
I think I was just like, I had been looking for one of those for a while, just thought they were cool. And, I think there was one point where I like kept searching regularly and like found that one that was local, and it definitely plays different than, it has like a really thin neck.
Okay.
So it like, I don't know. I was definitely playing stuff with like this was like the first bit of like spiral head stuff that we were doing. And yeah, I don't know, just sort of like a little bit more complicated, like chord fingerings. And like, just really I would definitely play things differently on that as opposed to like my Les Paul or something. It's a fun guitar to play.
And you still have the JMP, right? That was yours too? Or was that 80's? Okay.
AZ I ended up buying one because I liked his so much.
That's a great
still have
amp,
that.
yeah.
I have the combo version of that too, the JMP combo.
Oh, I didn't know they made that.
Oh yeah. So it's like,
but
is it one of the basket weave front, like
full
girl cloth? Yeah.
Yes. And like that was at a point a few years ago where I was like, I'm sick of like lugging half stacks around. but then, and I was like, but I really like this like how this JMP sounds. Like, oh, like I'll get this combo, and it's the heaviest fucking combo. Like it's so, like there's besides it being one piece, like it doesn't save any like back-breaking labor in the process. If anything, it's like more annoying to lift. But I've been playing through that. I've been playing through I got a JC 120 jazz chorus, and I've been like running them parallel, so like kind of like a gainy guitar and then like a nice clean chorusy guitar.
Okay.
To get like this big like full sound,
awesome.
Which is very fun.
I love that. That amp is one of my favorites. That Roland,
the jazz chorus.
Yeah.
Oh, so
the reverb on that and the chorus is so fucking good.
Yeah, it's like the perfect chorus and
the
reverb.
edge, man. The edge.
Yeah,
he
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that's a great amp. I love it. I had one, sold it, and I want to get it back, but now they're not $400 anymore. They're like fucking $900. So it's fuck.
Yeah, I drove out to Jersey to get that one, the one that I have, and like got it for just over $400. And like some of the pots were a little crackly, but it was still still good. Apparently, it belonged to one of the guys from Flock of Seagulls, but I can't confirm that. Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I don't
know if it was.
I saw them a couple months ago. There was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only the one dude, the singer.
I think this was like owned by one of the guys. It's like a touring member of the band now, not like an original. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
not that I wouldn't know the difference. I'm unfortunately I don't know the ins and outs of Flock of Seagulls.
The guy was great. The guy playing guitar was great. It sounded very like modeler based these days. And it was like this like 80's like night at the Greek Theater here in Los Angeles. So it was like a lot of bands sharing equipment. So who knows what his regular rig was, but I mean it sounded good. They sounded great.
I'm sure they have that rack set up just dialed in, like which I at this point I completely respect, where it's like, oh, what sound you're getting all the time. Perfect. Great.
Yeah. I'm trying to go pedal free, man. I just bought that Line 6 pod. I'm over that shit. I don't want to carry shit anymore. And it's like I'm so sick of carrying shit. I'm like, if I could find a guitar that would shrink down into my backpack, perfect.
Maybe that's this. Maybe we should work on this. Maybe this is like $1 million idea that we can find a pocket guitar that
foldable guitar.
Hold on, mate. You need to get one of the. Do you remember the Fernandez Traveler guitars that had the speaker in them and it looked like a boat paddle? Niraj.
I do remember those.
I know someone has a camp guitar. I think Adam McGrath might have had one.
I have a camp guitar. I have a little camp acoustic.
Nice.
Oh, speaking of acoustics, I think we missed your high.
Oh yeah, missed your acoustic. Yeah.
Oh wait. I'm gonna. All right. I need to plug my phone in because it's about to die. So my acoustic. I was working. Hang on. Hold please. You guys can edit this out later, right? Post production.
We got people to do that.
All right. Is it gonna fuck it up if I turn this on its side? Is it gonna fuck anything up?
Yeah.
Is that fine? Am I in the frame?
Not precious with our YouTube footage.
Am I in the frame?
No, you're perfect.
Yeah. I think more people.
The acoustic thing was, I mean, it's actually not that crazy of a story, but I was working at CVS in Worcester, like down the street from my house, and the pharmacy girl that like she was a little bit older, and she was like, oh, like you're into music and stuff, like okay, and I'm like, oh yeah, and she was like, I have this guitar, like it's just been sitting it's just been like sitting in my apartment like since I moved in. Like the last people left it there. Like, do you want it? And I was like, sure. And she like gave me this like acoustic. It's like a Harmony acoustic. I still have it.
Mhm.
And she was like, oh yeah, and like I have this like T-shirt too. That like, I figured you might like it. It's like I don't know the band, and it was a Lifetime shirt.
Wait,
And I was just like,
what?
and I can't remember if there was like a friend of a friend that knew like them, like knew
Yeah.
the guys in Lifetime, but it was yeah, it was just like like a blue shirt with like the little like star logo, like a little
Oh,
cursive,
yeah.
like the
Yeah,
classic
yeah.
life. And she was like, oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. She was just like, do you want it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I got an acoustic guitar and a Lifetime
shirt.
shirt. I feel like there was like some connection where like either she knew them or like a friend of a friend like hung out with them and was like, oh yeah, and like, you're into this kind of stuff, right? Like, yeah, sure.
That's
But
the first acoustic I had was a Harmony too.
Same.
I still have it. It's like a cool guitar. The tuning, like I should get like the tuning pegs replaced because they're kind of hard to tune. But I've written so many songs on that guitar, and
oh wow,
it's a fun one.
Jim.
But
recently I saw, before we sign off or whatever, I saw that you're playing some shows as a solo artist.
oh yeah, I've done a couple.
Is that all acoustic
recently.
or is it?
No, I've been doing my my Jazz Master with like just some like chorus and reverb.
Okay.
Just like sort of, I don't know, almost like Billy Braggish style, but yeah, just doing my friend Vinny Caruana, who plays in the movie Life and I Am the Avalanche, and we've been playing together doing another band that hasn't started playing shows yet. But he plays solo all the time, and he's just like, he's asked me a couple times, like, if you ever want to do it, like,
that's cool.
And I've been thinking about it recently, and like, yeah, so I've played a couple in like the last month, and yeah, gonna do some more, just as like a sort of project of like, can I do this? Can I feel comfortable on stage, like with no band?
I was just gonna ask you, man. It's like, I'm trying to do it right now. It's like I got songs written, and I've been taking vocal lessons for a long time, but I'm definitely afraid.
I mean, it's just like, yeah, I mean, I've done it. I had done it a couple times years ago, but I just I never felt prepared. Like I would literally go up with like half finished songs and sort of like do like phonetic vocals here and there.
Got it.
So like when I played a few weeks ago for the first time, like had like a whole set, like had a couple covers, like had, threw in some like old, like some Pure Love songs, and like, so I had everything where it's like, all right, this is what I'm playing, I know what I'm doing, rehearsed it a bunch throughout the week. I don't know, it's like with anything, like feeling like confident, and then I was still like super nervous doing that, but just played the set. It was got decent praise from people, and that was nice. That was cool. And then played again like this past Friday, and that one like felt a little bit more natural. So hopefully, more I do it, it'll get better.
So what's your setup for that gig?
It's, I mean, the two times that I've done it recently, it's literally just that Jazz Master with Jaguar with humbuckers, and I use a little MXR chorus pedal and just like this little, I don't even know what the company is, like this little reverb pedal that I like. And those two things, I think I brought a delay pedal with me the last time, like that Avalanche run. Earthquaker pedal. And I just play like the first one. It was at St. Vitus, and I knew like I just played like one of the house amps there, like it was like a black star. So I just got like kind of a dirty clean sound on it. And then the one last week, the place that I played, like they had a orange, like a little orange combo. So like just same thing, like got it like pretty clean, and you know, sort of going for like a sort of a fat clean sound, and then but yeah, just the goal is to be able to do it and just like maybe bring like one case, like one guitar, a couple pedals, and make it easy.
Yeah, no, totally. I can see that. It's good that every place you went to that you play has a house, has a rig, you know.
Yeah. Trying.
It's so funny, like, because I think about that a lot, like, especially like looking at bands that like have less members or just like solo acts. I'm like, dude, dividing a guarantee by one, that's awesome. Because it's like it doesn't matter how many you're showing up with. Like if you're opening a gig for $100, it's like either you're splitting it 5 ways or one. Yeah. It's like
Adam in his package, man. That dude used to tour in a fucking Escort.
Dude. Oh man.
Or
that's so
it's
great.
either that or you have 2 bands that share the same members, so you can just tour as a package and just like get paid twice for everyone. That's the goal. I want to do that. Or play by myself.
I wanted to ask you a question, because I know that with Pure Love you actually recorded with kind of a legendary producer, right?
Yes. Two legendary producers.
Can you just like give us a quick like rundown of what that experience was like? Because I know you guys recorded in England, and like just some of the gear, some of the kind of like perspective, you know, like it put you in like you're like, holy shit, I'm recording with, you know.
Well, we recorded the LP with Gil Norton, and we recorded in Brooklyn, but we did pre-production in England at this studio, which was cool. Like the studio in England. So we hadn't played a show yet. We had just like been writing. We had like gotten signed. We were planning on playing our first show, and then we were going to come back and like record the first record. And so we went to this studio to like do rehearsals for the show, and also like, you know, get the band in the same room and suss everything out. And that studio, I forget it was just like on this like English estate, and it was owned by the original drummer of blanking on, why can't I think of the band name? The prog band with the flute player.
Jethro
Tull. So like the original, the original drummer of Jethro Tull, I believe, it was his place, and he was like, you know, sort of in and out. He would hang out, and like it was just like a sort of like basic studio, like nothing crazy, but there was like an old Neve board in there, and like we would just like set up all together in one room and sort of like track everything just to like get ideas down. But yeah, Gil, as far as like a producer, he's like so fastidious, and like tuning is a big thing for him. Like I would always like constantly be tuning, like always telling you to check your tuning. And like there was one song where like I had written it with a capo, and he was like, I fucking hate capos. Like you're not why don't you just put it down? Why don't you just drop it down to like open strings? I'm like, okay, well. And we didn't end up recording that song anyway. But he was great. Like, I mean, like we had such a good time. He was rad. His engineer, Daniel, he like just super pro, but like, you know, I had heard all these horror stories about Gil Norton, like the whole like Foo Fighters, like Color in the Shape, where like he got rid of the fucking rhythm section basically, and like, so I was like, is this gonna be crazy? Like, is he just gonna like totally fucking destroy us? Because we hadn't all like, it was me and Frank writing the songs. We hadn't really played with a band yet. Like I literally met the bass player like through a friend, and like here, and I was like, do you want to come and do this, like come to England next week and do this thing? And he was like, yeah. He was like a Kiwi guy, like session dude, and he was like the sickest bass player. And then we had Jared Shavelson playing drums for us, so it was just like as soon as we got in the room, it was just like, okay, like this is fine.
Is good. Yeah.
And then so yeah, that was like, it ended up being a great experience, and like there was no like weird moments of like this dude like torturing us, and but yeah, he's like super into like, he's a bass player, so he's like all like the songs were all there, but we were working out like how can like this rhythm hit a little bit harder, and Jared's great at that. Like he was so good at that stuff. Like he killed it, and yeah, I mean it was great. And then the other guy we were with, this guy Chris Goss, who does Masters of Reality, and like he did Black Queen's record, and he was also
I didn't know that.
fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, like he was great. Like that was just what ended up being EP. It was supposed to be us like doing demos to like hopefully get signed again, and then we didn't get signed, and then we broke up.
Got it. What
but we got to record with him, and it was awesome.
Coming from the punk world, would you say that there was like a sort of like was it intimidating going in with these guys, or you're just like, hey man, like for me, I'd be like, yo man, I'm a punk guitar player, so this is, but
not really, because I feel like at that point I had like recorded with good producers,
good engineers.
Like fucking what Jim from at the
fucking Outpost. The Outpost,
right? What's his last name? My brain.
Siegel,
Yeah, Jim Siegel. I want to say Jim Siegel. I wanted to say Jim Winters, but it's not Jim Winters. Who I love. And like Kurt, and like I mean Kurt was like probably the harshest fucking producer I've ever like. I remember the first, like an old band of mine going and recording with Kurt, and I walked in with like a floor, like a line 6 like floor processor thing, and he was just like, the hell is that? What are you gonna do with that? Like Kurt's like robot way. And I was just like, I felt so stupid, because I was like, fuck, the guitar player Converge thinks I'm a fucking loser.
Yeah, and now he tours with the Line 6 pedal boards.
I know. But it still sounds better than, most people would use a Line 6 pedal board. But yeah, it's, it all comes full circle, I guess. Thanks, Kurt.
Sure.
So, what through all of these experiences, like, what's like the one thing that you can't live without? If you're like, what's the one piece of gear that you wouldn't play a show if you didn't have?
I mean, a guitar, I guess.
A guitar. That's a good answer. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
Just a guitar.
Yeah. I think like a few years ago, I felt so comfortable with my Les Paul and like always played that. But like now I've found other guitars that I really like, and like it depends on the band too. Some guitars I wouldn't play with certain bands, and I don't know. It's tough.
I totally get it.
I'm just gonna say a guitar.
Cool. No, it's just because sometimes we get like these just not random, but like things that would like kind of like, whoa, really? And like Ryan Patterson, when we had Ryan Patterson on, he was just like, oh yeah, I use a small clone on everything. Like he has that in his guitar chain. I was like, whoa, really? I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. That's pretty fucking cool. Just like stuff that you wouldn't know,
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that would like, I love putting it, like even just like a little bit of delay on my, like I usually have like a little bit of slap back on whatever sound I have.
Oh, okay.
And like, but yeah, I don't know. I guess less with like, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it depends on what band it is. It's like Suicide Pilot. I don't really need a tuner because we've never really into, but HopeCon. I need a tuner.
I know. I was when you brought this up to me. I was trying to rack my brain as to when I first got a tuner. Like when I first because I had definitely gotten one like after playing shows for a long time.
Yeah,
I can't remember when I got my first tuner. Yeah.
I think I don't know.
I would ear tune for such a long time because I saw all the punk bands that I knew. No one had tuners when I started going to shows. They were all tuning like, hey, tuning to each other or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, weird. And then like, when I started playing with HopeCon, they're like, you gotta get a fucking tuner. It's rack tuner bullshit. I had like one of those like
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, so that's that's when
that was the rack tuner was the tuner that Gil Norton made me buy because he was like, these are the most accurate ones. Like you got it. And it was just sitting on the console. Like, and when I was doing my guitar parts, he's like, tune. Tune.
Let me guess, you were playing your Gibson.
I was, yeah.
That could have been why he was like, tune.
Yeah, that G string just really.
You looked at the G string wrong. You need to tune.
I know.
It's on a tune.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny. We actually had another guest on who Mike Hickey, who he's guitar techs for Joe Bonamassa now, and he was in Carcass and a bunch of stuff. It like he has like a lot of gear, like ridiculously expensive, vintage gear. Like, so we're just like, and I've seen on his page, like he posted stuff about some 59 bursts and stuff like that. And I was like, so for $1 million, like, does it actually stay in tune? Like, is that part of the deal you get? And he was like, actually, yes. And then like pulls one out and is like showing. And the way that the nut was originally filed on those was actually to the G string was at an angle to the tuning peg. So it wouldn't get as hung up as it does now. 'Cause now they just slot them straight. I was like, that's totally worth
interesting.
Little nugget of Gibson knowledge.
$999 extra.
Well,
amazing,
Jim. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for
having
on,
me.
man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's fun.
This is a pleasure. Yeah.